Does Lamar need to win a playoff game to validate his success so far?
He does. And you know I love me some Lamar Jackson, but still, facts are facts. It's time to get over that hump. And you got to understand how the game of football comes at you. It's so difficult to just get on the field, as I discuss all the time. It's so difficult to make plays when you're on the field. But then to have the level of success he's had in such a short career, to become an NFL MVP, and there's still criticism. It lands on every player's resume. Did you win? Did you win the Super Bowl? Every time I go speak to little kids at elementary school, did you ever win the Super Bowl? I almost want to walk out every time. Like, I have other things to talk about. But the point of it is, that lands on me, a former defensive end. It lands on the lap of every single quarterback, especially one as great as Lamar Jackson. So mess around. Imagine everyone, close your eyes, focus. They go 12-4. All right, he's still MVP candidate, doesn't win. Okay. Gets into the playoffs, and what happens? One and done, they lose again. That pattern, it's locked in on him, and I don't want that perception to be reality with Lamar Jackson. He needs it.
To whom much is given, much is required. I know, Acho, you will appreciate that verse right there, my young man. Listen, yes, there is some validity to him validating his career so far by getting playoff wins. And I'll tell you, I'll raise the stakes a little bit more. Please do. It actually validates all of the quarterbacks who have had the same game as Lamar Jackson that came before him. I will raise the stakes a little bit more. It actually validates continuing to actually believe that you should go down this line of thinking and considering who you want your quarterback to be moving into the future. Going into this third year, and listen, Peyton Manning lost some playoff games. I believe he was 0-3 at one point in his career as well, in his playoff career. But the one thing that Peyton Manning doesn't have to concern himself with is the stigma, right? The stigma of the running quarterback. There have been the McNairs, there have been the McNabbs, there have been so many quarterbacks, the Randall Cunninghams, and I'm using a whole bunch of, black quarterbacks as my example. But let me tell you something. Not to play the race card, there are quarterbacks like Tim Tebow that was not respected because of their ability to run versus being pocket passing quarterbacks. So while others will have the same amount of leeway to have success and failure in what it is that they do, someone who is continuing to transcend what the norms have been, what the establishment says, this is how you're supposed to do it. He has to win for those reasons, because those reasons alone, the stakes are truly high for him to validate what he's doing.
I'm going to start by saying this. I would rather have 8 great years of Lamar Jackson than 15 years of Matthew Stafford. That's just me. Okay. I would rather your highs be higher. I am not the kind of guy that needs your 6'5" traditional pocket passing quarterback. Again, that's just me. I'm a new age kind of cat. But with that being said, you have to understand your strengths and your weaknesses. And I understand with Lamar Jackson, just anatomically, his style of play, it has a shorter window of success. It got a smaller window of success, meaning if he is going to have a smaller window of success based on his style of play, which I love, he has to have success sooner. Now, let's put everything in check. Lamar Jackson is younger, last time I checked, than the #1 overall pick in this previous draft class in Joe Burrow. So it's not as if Lamar Jackson is older getting up there. That's not the case. But I played with Michael Vick his last couple years in the league. I played with Michael Vick on the Eagles back in 2014. And I saw it was a different Mike Vick than it was in his earlier stages. Now, Mike Vick, he progressed as a pocket passer, but everybody knows how lethal Mike Vick was because just how dangerous he was with his feet. Lamar Jackson has already progressed from year 1 to year 2 as a pocket passer. We all know that. He will continue to progress. But what makes Lamar Jackson an NFL MVP is that he can kill you with his arms and with his legs. So I need Lamar Jackson to get him one. The Ravens need Lamar Jackson to get him one early, because you know sooner or later you get too much tread on them tires, you got to take it to the shop.
Interesting. He is in for it. I mean, one, he's trying to pioneer almost this style of play to the to the tune of a championship. Of all the names that you listed, you left one out.
Okay.
And I got to be real.
Which
you
one?
know, all quarterbacks matter. I got to talk about it. Steve Young. And his words were, "Get this monkey off my back." And this monkey's off my back, gone forever. Think about that. That's Steve Young, who was a mobile quarterback, probably a little compromised in some people's eyes because they said, oh, he can move, and not giving him full respect for him being able to throw the football. Obviously, he proved people wrong, but you got to make the greater good. You have to make the collective become greater than they were if you're Lamar Jackson. And that's where he finds himself. He finds himself in a position where he's like, I want to make sure I still can have joy in my success. A lot of champions, I'm not a champion, so a lot of champions got to tell me this, that they say there's only two ways to win a championship. Either you win it and it's a joy, or you win it and it's a relief because the pressure has been on your head for so long. This is the last year that if he doesn't go out there and win it, it could be of joy. After this year, it's just going to be a relief, and I do not want that on Lamar Jackson's head.
You know what it makes me think about, Marcellus and Acho? It makes me think about what is the validation being based on, right? Like when we say validation in its true sense of the word and the form validation, what is it? Because things that Lamar has already accomplished, some people have not accomplished in their entire career. And that's interesting because the first thing that comes to mind is there are first ballot Hall of Famers, I won't say no names, Drew Brees, that have never even been an NFL MVP.
Ooh.
There are guys that have won Super Bowls. I won't say no names, Russell Wilson, that have not been NFL MVPs, right? So when we're talking about validation,
talk that talk.
I look at Lamar and I say, again, I'll double down on my original point for the simple fact that there are so many things at play and at stake for what Lamar Jackson is playing for, that even him having a career that in some ways exceeds guys that have been playing this game for so long, he still has to get to that final place and really put that flame on that Olympic torch deal and light the whole thing up. Otherwise, there will still be opportunities to poke holes in the style in which he plays. Love Steve Young, and I get that. But if you look at that type of team that Steve Young was on, Marcellus, I'm sorry. You could have been the quarterback on that team and got the monkey up off of your back. So with that being said, I just think there's a lot to be said for what Lamar Jackson has to do, and it's beyond just the accolades.
Yo, this is what I love about this show, because we get to keep it real. Like Marcellus, we just rotate between who gonna keep it real. And right now the ball has passed to me. And so I'm gonna keep it real.
Keep it real, Macho.
LaVar, you've been speaking some truth, bruh. You've been speaking some truth. Here's what it comes down to. Everybody wanted Lamar Jackson to fail. Even as recently as last year, you have NFL analysts, you have college football analysts saying that Lamar Jackson is a receiver. You got guys that are still mad that Lamar Jackson didn't go to the combine and run his 40 time because they wanted to make Lamar a receiver. And Lamar said, nah, I ain't with all that. I'm a quarterback. And he not only was a quarterback, he was the best quarterback in the National Football League. So people are looking to knock Lamar Jackson off. But sometimes, in some situations, you got to be twice as good to be equal. Lamar has already proven he's better by being the MVP. But in order for him to incubate himself from any sort of criticism, Lamar Jackson is going to have to win a chip, but he's also going to have to win a playoff game. Not saying that the playing field is fair, but Lamar Jackson has never been on a playing field that has been fair, and he's still overcome all the odds. So since y'all wanted to keep it real, I just had to keep it real.
Well, can I get a little of that real juice? Because I got to just shoot one thing at you, LaVar Arrington. Don't you ever, as a former athlete, say anybody could just be interchangeable and it doesn't matter who they are. Because Steve Young went out there in the Super Bowl and threw 6 touchdowns, which is still an NFL record. So who else has done that, LaVar?
I did say that about Marcellus, so it could be anybody. You're right. I take that back. I'm sorry.
Ding, 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 ding. Break it up.